So our next session on the agenda is an interactive poster session featuring short presentations, followed by the opportunity to connect with speakers in breakout rooms. The theme of this session is contextualizing experiences of climate well-being. So for the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to have the chance to hear short 2-minute presentations or pitches from 3 different presenters. And then we're going to have about 15 minutes of breakout rooms where you can take time to talk to the speakers, and you can also connect with one another, which will be really nice to do in sort of a smaller setting. And to start us off, I'd like to welcome Matt Treble. Matt will be presenting on climate change emotions, perceived mental health impacts, and supports among adolescents in Dhaka, Bangladesh, a cross-sectional mixed method pilot study. Welcome, Matt.
So just confirming, folks can see my PowerPoint, my little poster here. I have it on one slide. I know that this is small font, so I'm going to keep this super quick as we just have a quick 2 minutes to go. But thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Matt. I use he and him pronouns. I am calling at you today from the unceded and traditional territories of Lekwungen and Songhees nations, otherwise known as Victoria, BC. So I'm here to present on this cross-sectional study we did concerning adolescents in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So this study was a cross-sectional mixed methods pilot study aimed at exploring how Bangladeshi adolescents perceive their mental health as being impacted by climate change. So for a little bit of background, Bangladesh is in the South Asia and is ranked as the 7th country that is most impacted by extreme weather events related to climate change. So this includes, but is not limited to, droughts, intense heat, floods, and even cyclones. So the survey that we dispersed was adapted for the Bangladeshi context from a similar survey that our research team developed for Canadian adolescents. It was dispersed to 2 English-speaking schools in Dhaka, Bangladesh in October and November of 2023. The survey focused on understanding their climate emotions, how they perceive their mental health as being impacted by climate change, as well as current supports that they are utilizing and supports they would like to utilize in the future to better support their mental wellness. 200 adolescents participated in the study, and for our data analysis, we ran descriptive statistics for all the quantitative data surrounding climate emotions, as well as those current and desired supports, while we also conducted a thematic analysis on open-ended responses pertaining to perceived impacts of climate change. So for a quick snapshot of the results, I know it's hard to see on the slide, but in the bottom left figure there with the bars, the most prevalent climate emotions that the Bangladeshi adolescents reported experiencing were concern, sadness, anger, and guilt. For the thematic analysis where we were looking at the open-ended responses and the perceived mental health impacts, we had a lot of different themes pop up, but the ones with the most coded responses were some negative emotions that were resulting from experiencing extreme weather events, the physiological impacts, so things like having increased migraines and impacts to their body, as well as impacts on energy, motivation, and focus. So things around, we have a quote here that says, "The extreme heat makes it hard for me to study." So a lot of comments there around impacts on energy, motivation, and focus. Very interestingly, when we asked about the current supports that folks are using, the most prevalent current supports were self-education, so educating yourself with available resources, some school-based programs and clubs, as well as conversations with others around climate change. When we flipped it and asked what supports would they like to have access to, what were their desired supports, the most prevalent responses were community-based programs and clubs, getting involved in climate action activities, as well as school-based programs and clubs. So as a quick conclusion here, this is a pilot study which warrants further research. We want to continue to explore this, especially given the Bangladesh context. Now, these results can really be used in policy and practice and could really help community organizations understand what type of supports the Bangladeshi adolescents want to utilize to help navigate these impacts of climate change on their mental health. I will leave it there. I hope that was close to 2 minutes.
That was great. Thanks very much, Matt. And up next, we have Dr. Peter J. Crank, and the title of his poster presentation today is Climate and Mental Health in Cities, Exploring the Intersection of Schizophrenia and Atmospheric Science in the Context of an Urbanizing World. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to this isn't the actual slide that I'll talk about in the poster session, but just to give you guys a bit of a preview of what we'll talk about. But I am coming from the University of Waterloo, which is on the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples' territories. The main campus is located on the Haldeman Tract, which is land that was granted to the Six Nations in Ontario that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. The work that I'll be talking about is a little bit more quantitative in nature than Matt's work, but we'll be talking about why heat matters in terms of the context of urban planning. We can talk about why heat and neuropsychiatry and mental health are related, the methods that I use, as well as the types of results that we're finding. So in the work that I've done, we're identifying that particularly overnight air temperatures are more related than other types of weather variables to schizophrenia hospitalizations in Phoenix, Arizona, a hot and dry part of the world. And then also thinking a little bit about what are the implications for vulnerable populations and the healthcare system. Because we're looking at hospitalization records, that means that we're looking at evidence of what the healthcare system is having to spend on potentially preventable heat-related mental health concerns, that if we took the challenge of addressing climate change and heat within our cities, we could be mitigating these impacts both to the individuals as well as to the burden on our healthcare system as a whole. So with that, I'll wrap up and just say that I'm happy to chat more about all of these things in the breakout session, as well as more details about the study itself. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much. That was a really good synopsis. Okay, so then next up we have Jeremy Bismarck Veoyeke presenting on resilience and psychological adaptation of populations to climate change in Cameroon. The case of the populations of Yaoundé, Douala, and Maroua. So welcome, Jeremy.
Is it okay?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah?
Just a few words, just 2 minutes here, and then we'll go into the breakout rooms.
Okay, climate change represents a major global challenge primarily caused by human activities with a significant impact on the environment and the well-being of population. In the region of Yaoundé, Douala, and Maroua, these effects are often misunderstood, making resilience and psychology adaptation difficult for residents. It is crucial to analyze how communities preserve and respond to this change, as well as the strategy they develop. The study focus on the interaction between climate change and the mental health of residents, highlighting they need to understanding local dynamic in order to foster the right response and methods. The study adopts a qualitative approach, drawing on George Ballandier's dynamic sociology and Lushbeck theory of the risk society. Data collection includes the viewers of 19 documents and a field survey, incorporating direct observations and 30 semi-structure interview with institutional actors and local residents. Data analysis was carried out using content analysis and the results indicate that the residents of the Yaoundé, Douala, and Maroua contributed to
Sorry,
climate
Jeremy,
change.
I'm just gonna pop in for a second. Just in the interest of time, we're going to move everybody into breakout rooms, and then you can continue to explain your study in that breakout room. So for the next few minutes between now and the top of the hour, you'll be able to participants will be able to self-select your own breakout rooms to talk with the presenters, one another, or stay in the main room to have a break. Shortly, Kaylee will open the breakout rooms, and you'll be able to add yourselves to them by clicking on the breakout room symbol or the more button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You'll then be able to
Okay.
self-select and move between the breakout sessions to hear more from the different presenters. If you're
Okay.
unable to do this for some reason, please make note of that in the chat, and Kaylee can help move you to the breakout room manually.
Okay.
And with that, we'll open the rooms to look forward to a deeper discussion.